All right, everybody. Welcome to the second relaunch of the second relaunched sales call overhaul. We are excited to be here with you, and we've got Sean Roach here today. We're going to talk about him a lot today and kind of get into his selling from the stage process and really just show you as much as we can in the time that we have. We're excited. I want to go over a couple details right quick. Tell us who you want to hear as a guest. If you've got a guest in mind, we're open to that. Next week, we've got sales trainer, our own sales coach, Joe Girard. He'll be on with us, and he's a lot of fun as well. Mm-hmm. And so we'll have a lot of fun with that. He's got his Whiskey Friday podcast and all that kind of stuff. But Sean, this week we're going to get as deep as we can in the time that we have. If you have a sales call that you want us to overhaul, this is our $1,100 package that we give away. And so send it in. Send in your sales call recording. Go to salescalloverhaul.com. And what's the / link on that? Is it the salescalloverhaul.com/sign up?
It used to be. I think they should just message us right now.
Okay, yeah, we'll put a link down here in the bottom of the video. But yeah,
we made some changes over the holidays.
Right, you can message our Facebook page, the Sales Call Overhaul Facebook page, and we'll get you going with that as well. So if you want to get your high-ticket sales calls totally overhauled on the air, and we'll just show you exactly what needs to change to immediately boost your close rate, then send that in, and we'll go over it with that week's guest. We'll transcribe it and go over that stuff. We choose one winner each week. So today's topic is high-ticket selling from the stage with Sean Roach. And Jason, would you introduce Sean for us?
He's there.
Hey, that's him. That's the guy.
The cool thing about Sean is that he is a great sales guy from the stage. However, he also has expertise in internet marketing and organizational turnaround. So he's been providing this practical advice on how small businesses and large businesses can expand their reach and repossession themselves after this technological change that always comes along happens. So it's like, boom, what do we do now? Well, Sean's here. So he's worked as an advisor to some companies you'll probably recognize the names of, Amazon, Google, MGM Resorts, BMW. You heard of Subaru, Jeremy? Do they have Subaru where you are?
Here in Asheville, it's like the only car anybody drives. Yeah.
Awesome. Ford, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, and just a few more. So, Sean, thank you for being here.
You bet.
I want to get right into it. How the heck did you get into high-ticket selling from the stage? Because nobody pops out of the womb and goes, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, but I think I might have. I'm severely dyslexic. I'm a high functioning dyslexic. So most people, it's a misnomer of dyslexia. They think you move letters or words around. And really what it is the mind processes information faster than the motor skills can keep up with. And so I've always loved selling. I mean, I was that kid at 6, 7 years old that had a stand on the corner selling stuff. And my brother's 5 years older than me. He's an engineer. And one story that we kind of have laughed about in the past was my aunt and uncle are in Northern California, and they used to always get us almonds and walnuts to sell. So around Christmas time, we'd go out, set up a table on the corner, busy corner where I grew up at, and we'd sell walnuts and almonds. And so we'd give samples. So one time we opened up a walnut, and it was all black, kind of had a black thing around it. And this woman's standing there, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And my brother goes, "Oh, I think that's bad." And I said, "Oh no, that's one of the toasted ones," without missing a beat. So my brother then runs into the house to tell my mom that I'm lying. But by the time that all goes through and that happens, they come out and I've sold everything. So a couple more I had sold it. And whoever sold stuff got to keep it. So now my brother's screwed because he has no inventory and I've now made all of the money. So, I was that kid that sold the candy bars. There used to be a stuffed animal company called Dakin, and Dakin stuffed animals. You'd sell stuffed animals. The second year I sold stuffed animals, they had to have a semi-truck trailer come to our house, and it was parked on the side of our house for about almost 2.5, 3 weeks, so I could deliver all the stuffed animals that that I had sold. So
Nice.
yeah, it's
Now, what age was this, Sean?
the stuffed animal one was in junior high. So yeah, you know, just that was junior high. I mean, I was that kid that you know, I've said from stage. I mean, literally from 3rd to 8th grade, I was sent to the, and I know this is not a politically correct word, but when I grew up, it was. I was sent to the retarded section of the school. It was the yellow hallway area, and I'd get pulled out of class, and I'd have to go there because I really sucked at reading, writing, and spelling and grammar. But at the same time, I was asked to participate in the Olympics of the Mind and go to Rotary Club and give a speech and do all these other things that was just from there. And I was always, you know, I was a Y kid. I still am a Y kid. You know, if you tell me no, you better have a damn good reason why. And of course, I have a 6-year-old that is identical to me now. So life comes back full circle.
Yeah, you've earned it at this point.
Yeah. And I think I really, I ran for student body vice president when I was in junior high, and I got my first standing ovation. Telling them that you're going to bring Coke machines in works really, really well. And, you know, I think that also then got me addicted to wanting to do speaking.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
So, well, okay. So selling high ticket from the stage, what was your first experience doing that?
So I graduated university, started a mortgage company and was involved in the mortgage industry, started speaking I mean, I really wanted to be a speaker, but I didn't know where to start or how to make that happen. So I started helping out a company that trains real estate and mortgage people. Also not realizing I was being used by them. And I'll never forget this, a guy named by the name of Jerry Ballinger was also Evan Pagan's mentor. And Jerry had written a lot of the content for a lot of the people that are still around today. I won't drop a name, but the No BS guy, all of that content was created by Jerry Ballinger. And so Jerry Ballinger created all that stuff, and he was brilliant. This guy was just amazingly brilliant and weird at the same time. And Jerry pulled me aside one day and said, you know, you do realize that you're on stage and that they keep telling you that they're going to bring you more into their company and you're going to start doing things. But the guy that is the guru of this real estate company or this company that trains real estate mortgage people is scared shitless of you. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, most speakers are introverts. And at first that didn't make sense to me, but it totally does. Well, I mean, on stage, they're having a conversation with one person. It's them. I mean, no one else is not interactive. And he said, you know, Joe watches you speak from stage, and then, you know, everybody goes out for dinner and you're still the life of the party. Like, you're not afraid to embarrass yourself. You're right. And he's not like that. And so he is worried that you'll, you know, take people away from him and whatnot. That didn't register for a very aggressive, cocky, making really good money 20-something-year-old. As I've gotten older, I've replayed those conversations back in my mind to understand it. But I was at that point. I was you know, when people back in the late 90s, you know, a high ticket item from stage was $5,000. That's what I was pitching from stage was a $5,000 program. And then from there, as I started doing a little bit more things, I started to combine. I'm one of the only people that I know does this. I've seen people try it and they failed drastically, but in 90 minutes, I've done a $15,000 pitch and a $3,497 pitch in the same pitch and close, and just had people part and split off into other areas.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, that's very cool. What an entry. Nice.
So we are familiar at the Closing Engine with high ticket selling on the phone.
Yes.
Or, you know, from a webinar and that. Has there been a difference in selling from the stage compared to that you noticed early on?
So, you know, one of the things I get asked to help people with all the time is selling from the stage. I actually have done a program called Sell from Stage, and I consider everything a stage. This is a stage right now. I'm standing up. I'm not sitting down. This is a stage. If I'm doing a webinar, it's a stage. If I was doing a conference call, it's a stage. If I'm in front of the 21 people I was in front of yesterday, or I'm in front of 10,000 people, it's a stage. It really, you know, the other thing that I think, and this goes for sales in general, but I tell speakers all the time, especially if you're going to sell, is surrender to the fact that 50% or more of the audience hates you before you even step foot on stage.
Wow. Okay.
Now,
that's an aggressive statement.
And now here's why, right?
Love
Because did you now, just when I said that, did you discount that? Did you in your mind go, well, they really don't hate me? It's human nature to discount. So if I said they don't like you, you would have taken it down another step further, and then you kind of accepted of like, it's really not that big of a deal. It is a big deal. If you know, and frankly, if you only close 10% of the audience, that means 90% of the people freaking hated you, right? I mean, there was a varying degree from 50 up to 90. That 50 hated you, and then the other ones kind of didn't really like you, and the other ones like, I don't really need his stuff, right? Or her stuff.
Yeah.
And then that 10% or whatever percentage it was. And when you start having that attitude, when you come out and speak, or you do a webinar, or you're on a phone or anything else, it's amazing how you get sales. Because now you're not worried about that process of trying to make the sale, because you're very easily going, if the person's for me or they're not for me. I did 2 summers in college. I sold books door to door for the Southwestern Book Publishing Company. They've been around for, I think, 130 something years now. Started off selling Bibles. They recruit college kids to go, sell door to door. Brutal fun training. I think the only best other training behind that would be to be a Mormon and do a mission for 2 years. That's why all those guys are all great salespeople, and going out there. And their whole thing was, if you just knock on and present, if you do 30 presentations every single day, 6 days a week, you'll have a really amazing kick butt summer. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, it's part of that. So that same kind of that philosophy for me is when you're selling from stage, that not everyone's gonna like you. I'm okay if I see people get off of the webinar and go do something else. Yep. It's not their loss. I mean, it's not my loss, it's their loss.
Yeah.
So very different in terms of like you're reaching more people at once, and you can't really qualify them, and you can't really build rapport one-on-one.
Right.
So being yourself and being consciously, aware of being yourself seems to be a key.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke at an event yesterday. Originally they said they'd have, in my contract, it said I owed them more money if they were over 200 people. I was expecting like 100, maybe 125. I get there's 21 people, right? Really, really hard. A lot of them were speakers that were speaking later in the event too. So my numbers were probably, I probably was speaking really to like 10 or 11 people. Yeah. And I still sold. I got 2 sales. And the one guy that bought later on, who, it's funny, analytical engineer, so real process thing and whatnot, because I know this is a question coming up, so I'll skip this one part of this process. But one of the things he said to me was, he goes, I loved how blunt and direct you were.
Yeah. I
could relate to that.
Yeah.
So that meant that people that don't like blunt and directness didn't want to buy from me. I'm okay with that. They would have been pain in the ass customers down the road anyways. Yep. They would have been the one that would have said, literally, so my product bounces around from $1,997 up to $3,497. It's also part of my presentation that I do from stage. I'll talk about that in a minute of why I do that. And I had a woman come into the back and she's like, oh, so now you're going to do all of this for us, right? And I'm like, yeah, for another 2 zeros at the end of that price, I'll do, so, and she still like didn't get it. And I go, you are asking for an employee for $1,997. I mean, right. you aren't in Bangladesh. We're in Los Angeles right now. There's big difference in that employee value.
Yeah.
Wow.
so with the rapport setup, one of the big differences that we hear, right, or that I'm hearing right now, is that with the individual person, you have the opportunity to tune to them. With the group, you have to let them tune to you instead, and let them decide if they're going to be a fit with you, and be okay with the people who decide, oh no, that's not a fit for me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're in one-on-one sales, it's a lot easier to do a quick triage call, right? I mean, you got 15, 20 minutes with them and you're finding out, look, is this person just a complete wussy and they got a little scrape on their knee and they can go sit in the waiting lobby of the emergency room for 15 hours? Or is this person about to die and we need to get them in for surgery, right? You have the ability to be able to make those decisions really, really quick. When you're doing a presentation, a webinar, or a large conference call, or speaking from stage, it's a much different process. So I have a lot of things in my presentation that are designed to give information or entertain the audience, sometimes both, sometimes individually. That's their that's their interpretation of it. That's their view of it.
Yeah.
Mine, it's a total test of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just seeing where they're at and you know, are they connecting? Are they there? Because sometimes, especially if you get in a big room, you know, you're up on a riser and everything else, it's really hard to kind of sense and feel the energy and what's going on in the room.
Yep.
Okay. So you can try and put a windsock type thing inside your presentation.
Yeah, you know, I heard someone one time describe a stage that your target audience is like a funnel, right? So you've got everybody in front, and then as it slowly goes towards the back, there are the outlying areas outside of that triangle. They'll never buy from you. And I just started laughing, going, well, of course they'll never buy from you because you're not engaged with them. So I look at the room as a quadrant. So my outside emphasis in school was psychology. And so I'm fascinated by stuff that, like, when something happens and I'm like, okay, why did that happen? It's one of those XY factors. I can't put my finger on it, right? I can't factually say that the moron putting on the event put the sales table right in an area where there are two exit signs that could subliminally be telling someone, get the fuck out of the room, exit, go, 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 don't buy this person's product. I can't factually go, yep, that's what did it. Now, I know that there are NLP trainings. I know that there is Forum Est and some of those, you know, mind programs where they actually cover up the exit signs because of that. So I know that they've done studies. I do know that, but I can't put my finger on that. So one time in Los Angeles, I was doing a presentation, and I hired someone to come in. I hired a team of 10 people. One person in particular. So the 10 people were psychologists. Was the other guy from the school? I think he might have been from the UCLA school also. I'm trying to remember how we did this because it's a long time ago. But his job was to sit in one of my quadrants in the back, because I divide the room into quadrants instead of a funnel. And his only job was to think negative thoughts about me, and everything that I was talking was bullshit. That was his only job. He could have body language. He could grunt every now and then, but he couldn't say anything. And then the other students' job were to see if anyone from that area purchased my product, and if they didn't, to go outside and talk to them.
Yeah. Hey,
what did you think of Sean? And act like they were attendees and try to gather information.
Yeah.
And it was amazing that person, because I also didn't go into that quadrant. So I didn't go out and touch that part of the audience at all. I didn't ask questions. I did no engagement with that quadrant.
Yeah.
No one bought.
Right.
Not one person bought in that area. And when they went and talked to people, the number one response was, I'm not sure, something was just off.
Yep. They couldn't even pin it down.
No, they couldn't. But it's so if you were to divide a room up like a triangle and then exclude those people, there could be unmeasurable damaging effects that were coming to you because you didn't engage. So I always try to engage as much as possible. I have questions that I ask in all of my presentations. They're not for me, they're for them. Right. It's just a way for me to, I mean, one of my questions is, what business are you in? And I go around and I ask people what businesses. Now that does help me by going, okay, wow, that person's a chiropractor. So if they used our stuff to help position themselves as an expert in their niche, I now in my mind am thinking of samples and examples and our other clients that I can throw back out for a chiropractor to get them to go, oh, that's a really great idea. I could start doing that and then possibly want to buy our program.
Yeah. This is a very different process than most people use when they're putting on a speech.
Oh,
they do it like a play. Okay, yes. The audience is passive. You're talking about something very different here.
Yes. I am engaged from the second I get on there. And I'm not selling. I mean, I'm you know, look, oh, you could say, oh, he's selling from the very, very beginning. But I need them to trust me and understand that I've got knowledge and I really want to help them the second I come out on stage.
Okay, so how are you doing that kind of thing on a webinar where you can't see what's going on? It's a very mechanical back and forth when there is a back and forth. How do you what do you do when you get to the online sections like that?
Exact same thing. I still ask people questions. I still look for responses and stuff off to the side. If they're moving too slow, I'll pull responses myself and throw them out there just to keep the flow of it going. And I'm still trying to engage as much as possible.
Yeah, when we talk about these questions, is it like, now who's excited about this?
No, yes, yes. Oh, say yes, yes. None of the bullshit that you see most of the people do from stage that they think works. Oh, but it's NLP. It's, well, seriously, you're going to get people to say yes or yes or raise their hand or do something like that. You know, that's no. I have a hard time watching other speakers.
Exactly.
I have a hard time watching other speakers because to me it's nails on a chalkboard. And because of my wiring and being dyslexic, I'm naturally wired to see everything wrong. I mean, I just am. I always see everything that went wrong before. I mean, you know, one time with Amazon, after a meeting, I had one of the directors come up to me and go, you know, maybe next time you could blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, if they want a fucking Hallmark card, I'll stop at Walgreens before I get here and I'll buy everybody a fucking Hallmark card. But I am not a Hallmark card person. Like, that's not what you've brought me in for. Right. I know that they did this, this, and this right. Everyone in the room knows that they did this, this, and this right. But I brought up one thing that all of you were like, oh, we never thought of that before. We didn't look at that particular data, because I'm wired to see those things. So because I'm wired to see those things, you have to let me do that. That's
kind of the point. Yeah.
Yes. So I've been told I'm the most loved and hated person when I come into a meeting with a company, which I'm okay with. Yeah.
As long as they don't ignore you. Standing out. Right.
That's right.
So that leads right into our next question.
Jason, I still have another question about that. Actually. Yeah, I do. Okay. Can you give us an example of the type of question you do like?
So I will ask people, so what businesses are you in? I will ask people, because it ties into my presentation, what hobbies do you have?
Okay, yeah.
I will ask people, so who in here is the go-to expert on a subject?
There you go. Okay.
And then I'll walk around to the audience and I'll walk up to someone now. So here because I have set up my presentation so I literally start my presentation off. I have a warning. I let everybody know that you get out of what you put in. You can waste some money. You know, if you waste money, you're out money. But if you waste time, you've lost part of your life. I'm a big believer in that. And I also let them know my last name is Roach. So I've earned this right. I'm going to have fun today. You can have fun with me, or I'm going to have fun at your expense, but I'm going to have fun today.
Yeah.
And you know, and if I ever say something, because I also don't have a filter and it offends everybody, you know, and I can sense that reaction, especially at a live event. I'm like, oh, I'm just getting started. My goal is to offend every single one of you in this room. And then I laugh and keep going, and they don't know. If you throw them off guard, then they don't know what to expect. But then they're on the edge of their seat, waiting for that next thing because they don't know what to expect.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Nice. You're welcome.
Does that answer your question, Jeremy?
It does. It does. I'm good. Thank you.
So what I'm curious about is like the makeup of that audience. You know, you don't have a lot of power or choice in who gets put in those seats, do you? I mean, how does that pre-qualification happen for whose butt is in the seat?
To me, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
No, I was on tour in Australia with 4 people. I knew the promoter, so I was involved with all of this. One speaker had stolen a lot of content from me, so we had that little come to Jesus meeting, and he still got to come. And then there was a female speaker that I didn't know that everyone just said, "Oh my God, she's so awesome. She sells. She just does this. She does events and da da da." So, yeah, I'm just going to say it anyways. I don't care. She already knows I don't like her. So I won't say her name, but if anybody looks it up, they'll know. So she was selling a product called the Invisible Clothes. And the joke on the tour of City 2, it was a 6-city tour, was the clothes must be so fucking invisible because no one can see it. Because no one was buying. Like there was no one back there buying. So I ran into her. We were in Brisbane. I think it was this, we were in Melbourne. And I ran into her. She was done. She was in her jogging outfit, getting ready. She was going to go for a jog. And I said, hey, how's it going? And, she's like, oh, I'm just, it's a vacation for me. I'm getting to see Australia. I've never been here before. My boyfriend's coming down. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of surprising. And she goes, well, I'm in the wrong spot. I'm the first speaker in the morning and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, sometimes that's actually the best spot. And then it was, and these people are cold. And I stopped when she said, these people are cold. Mm-hmm. And I said, you just proved to me that you don't know how to sell. That you are used to coming into an audience that has been all warmed up, and that maybe you're speaking on day 2 or day 3 of someone's 3-day event. They're all there to see that particular person. And if that person tells them, buy this dog food, they will go buy that dog food. And that is how you've built your career, when a real salesperson can come into any room. I was in Singapore one time. I'd already heard from other speakers that no one was buying. 300 something people, 400 something people in the room. No one's buying. So I get there with my business partner at the time. We're walking. Here comes the promoter walking in the hallway, and he is just ghostly white.
Yeah, of course.
Because in his mind, he's like, it was at the Singapore Convention Center. They had put all this money into it. Like I just knew, like in his mind, it's like,
bankruptcy. Right? Yeah.
Yes. And so he comes up to me and he's like, Sean, I says, we're in Singapore and the people are different. I says, no. That's the mistake. Mm-hmm. People are people. Mm-hmm. So if you let me do my thing, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Do I have permission to go over if I need to go over? Because probably already there are enough people thinking this whole thing just sucks. Mm-hmm. That I'm going to have to re-engage with them. Are you okay with that? No problem. You do what you need to do. And I said, then don't talk to me anymore. I don't want any, and don't have your time. So it was so funny because I told them that to let me do what I needed to do. Well, Asian culture, right? For the most part, not to be discriminatory, but they're like almost like the Germans, right? Like they're on time and everything is orderly and whatnot. So this guy would walk into the middle of the aisle, and he had a piece of paper and he would hold it up in the air like this, and it would say 20 minutes left or half hour. And he would just go right. And so he did it the first time. I'm like, hey, I have the time. I know everything's good. So the third time he did it, literally from stage, I go, if you come out here one more time, I am murdering you. I'm going to kill you in front of all of these people. Right. So the audience kind of laughs. Well, he kept coming out. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, this is going to be a samurai sword thing. And, and everyone was looking at it. But, we did my close, and this would have been so disastrous in America. Mm-hmm. And again, that culture, they were okay getting in line and waiting. There was a line of 180 people or more with their order forms, and they had one processing terminal. Yeah. And it delayed everything so much they had to cancel the next speaker. Yeah. And then they told everyone, hey, because now they were having like a networking thing. They were playing some music inside, but they had no clue that I was selling a $3,500 product. And then they had 100 plus people, more than 50% of the room out there with their forms ready to buy. And the promoter then took me and went out to dinner that night and the next night. Sure. And I said, you had speakers that don't know how to engage an audience. And you had an MC that didn't know how to make up for that unengagement of that particular part. That's where you blew it with all of this. It wasn't about selling. It was about engaging. Correct. And so that being real with them. Yeah. That was her whole thing. Like I was shocked at, and it's so funny because she does not do, what she considers to be cold events because she doesn't know how to do that. And a lot of it is because a lot of the tactics that she has used or she teaches are manipulation tactics. There's something that I learned from Roy Williams, the Wizard of Ads, radio, newspaper. Roy's such a great. I love Roy. I've never met him. I would love to meet him someday. But yes. I've got 3 of his books, and I love his Monday Morning Memo. And you got to go to the rabbit hole. Are you kidding me? Sometimes you can spend hours of getting down and going, holy shit, there's another whole hole to this. There's another hole this. Yeah. Oh yeah. But he and Dan O'Day, who's a radio advertising master, they talk so very often about something that internet marketers get tripped up on constantly. I mean, we're all in our funnels and our webinars and our Facebook ad targeting and stuff. And they're like, look,
This is so much more about the copy, about the message, about connecting with people. The audience does not matter as much as you think it does.
Yep.
The perfect audience is a crutch, and it's okay to need that sometimes, but you will be so much stronger, you'll be so much more robust when you can send this message out to the general public.
Yeah,
And
I have not changed my presentation anywhere I have ever spoken, including Muslim countries where I have royalty sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
Never changed it. I know that I need to engage with the audience. I had my first time speaking in a Muslim country because I go around and sometimes I'll be behind someone when I am asking questions. So, you know, I'm like, hey, what's your business? What's your business? What's your business? I will touch the person that I talk to. Now, I've had people go, oh, is that blah, 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 hypnosis or NLP? Did you learn that? No. Yes, have I heard about that? That is a technique? Yes. No, for me, I'm trying to get your fucking attention and I'm going to touch you in order to do it, right? I also know I may throw you off. Sometimes I forget this sometimes from stage. And sorry for dropping all the F-bombs, by the way, but it's kind of...
We will forgive you.
And so one of the... Sometimes I let people know from stage is that in that warning is that I'm going to be interactive and I'm going to be asking questions. And if you're someone who normally gets shy and you cower down and you don't want to have a question, because of my brain, that's like a moth to a light bulb. Like I will so be drawn to you even more.
Oh, you're an outcast. I'll come take care of you.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Oh, I don't want to take care of them. It's just like, what, dude? So why are you an outcast? Like, no one's hurting you. You're not being picked to be taken outside and flogged. I, you know. And I have this whole internal fight in my mind of like, oh no, don't go near that. And the other part's going, yeah, get him. So you know, I want to go out and engage with people. But so I was touching the women in this Muslim country. So I had someone come up to me and they're like, oh, you know, you're real, you know, you're not. I'm like, I didn't rip the burqa off or anything. Like you know, has anybody complained? Has anyone done anything? But it was amazing because like someone came up to me and was like, oh, you know, but I went and gave another presentation and did the exact same thing. Like nothing changed for me because it was the audience. And if something would have happened or you know, from there, it's why, you know, I had someone one time say, are you ever worried about someone heckling you? And before I went to answer, someone else who knew me really well goes, that would be like going to a comedy show with Don Rickles and Joan Rivers and trying to heckle them. Like you'd I've had some people attempt, I mean, in New York, one time I had some people that were taking pictures of all my slides. And that, it sort of bothers me because it's my intellectual property, but more than anything, because of my dyslexia, if I'm looking over here and I see a camera pop up over here, it bothers me. Like my mind is, as I'm focusing here, my mind's going, oh, what's that? And then I get distracted in my presentation. So I told these people, please don't take pictures. My, you know, the stuff's copyrighted. It's also bothersome for me. And they wouldn't stop. So I stopped my presentation and blacked out the screen. And I said, look to the audience. I said, again, you know what? I told you earlier, you guys have some choices in this presentation. You all have a choice. We can end now and call it a day, or you as an audience can take care of this other audience member so we can continue and enjoy the day.
Right.
And people got up and went and grabbed them and dragged. I'm talking, you can hear this whole ruckus going outside in the lobby. The promoter comes walking back in and like holds his hand up like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what is going on? I'm like, oh, it's okay. No problem. We're good. So you have to be willing to engage.
Did you sell that day?
I did. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I sold. Absolutely. I sold. I'm sure there were people that were sitting there going, oh my goodness, he's such a jerk and I would never buy from him. That's okay. You're part of the 50% that doesn't like me. I'm okay with that.
Right.
But the other people that were like, wow, this guy saw a situation and didn't let it go. Like he handled it and took care of it. That's who I want to be working with. Those are the clients that I want.
Nice.
That's a perfect coach right there.
Yeah, he incites mobs. I also had this picture of you touching the royalty, and Your Majesty, what's your business? Well, you know what? You know what's fun, and I usually set this one up too. So ask about businesses, and then I come back around and I'm going around the room saying, "What's your hobby? What's your hobby? What's your hobby?" Inevitably, I'll get someone that will go like, they'll freeze, right? And I'm like, "It's okay, it's okay." I got another question, and I'll run past them. And then I will come back to them for the third question and go, okay, now this is just for you.
Or if I'm going around and I ask someone a question and they're like, I'm like, we're on question 3. Do you want me to start over? Where the first one was your business, the second one was your hobby, the third one was this. We're on question 3. Follow along. Come on, keep up. It's not really hard. I'm not asking you to do high level math. And the audience starts laughing. And then that, again, there's some people that are in the audience going, oh my God, I can't believe he's so mean to that person. But rarely that's not the case. I also am natural at being able to relate to people. Another time in Brisbane, Australia, this happened in Brisbane, Australia, I brought a woman up on stage. Is another thing that I do in my presentation. Sometimes I don't always do it. For me, I have all the tools in the tool chest. I don't know what I'm going to use while I'm engaging. It's all based on the audience. And so I brought this woman up on stage and I said, what's your name? And she goes, and I'm like, it's okay, hun. I'm just asking your name. And then she says, my name's Mary. I have a speech impediment. Now the whole audience just goes, oh, right? And I, without missing a beat, I got my arm around her. I go, Mary, can you imagine you and I going out? You would mess something up and I would make everyone laugh. And the whole audience just erupts in laughter. And you see all the other speakers that were in the back watching me all like, the whole time we were in Australia, everyone was like, I cannot believe you got away with that on stage. And I'm like, but I didn't insult her. I didn't make fun of her. I laughed at the situation. She laughed at the situation. I said, you got to be able to, but so many of them are worried about that. One time I was in New York and a guy that, one of the owners of the Learning Annex, Bill Zanker, I was on a Learning Annex tour for quite a while. So I was doing a talk in, I would do San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, and then sometimes Minneapolis. And I would do that about every other month, one place a week. And so I do a 5-week run, take 2 or 3 weeks off, and then we'd start it over again. And so he finally came to see me in New York because we, for a 3-hour evening class, had almost 400 people in the room. And so he now wanted to come see me speak. And so he stops me at the break and says, why are you letting them ask questions? You're never going to sell anything. And I go, because I was being interactive. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, I've been around this business a long time. I've seen all of the greats of, Robert Allen and blah, 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 blah. And I started laughing. I'm like, I know Robert Allen. He's a great speaker, but he doesn't sell very well from stage. He has other people sell. I said, just watch my presentation. And if I screw up at the end, then you'll know I screwed up. But at the end, we sold so much product. And we went out to dinner afterwards and he goes, I've been in this business so long and I've never seen anyone make people laugh. I've always seen them make them cry and your life or your world is a piece of shit and you'll be better if you're with me. And I'm like, but why? That's a manipulation tactic. I don't need to have that. And he goes, but you got to ask one question and you didn't know the answer. And I said, I know. And I told the audience, I don't know the answer. I could probably find that out, but I don't know the answer. But I said, no one got up and left. They were all like, oh, that makes sense. I says, most gurus want to control everything because they want to look like they're the be all end all, which causes problems.
Then when somebody puts you on a pedestal, there's nowhere else to go. You're going to get knocked off at some point. When you put yourself on a pedestal, oh my gosh, why would you do that? Just stay humble and stay a person. There are a couple things there. One, when people feel good, they tend to make better decisions. Not always. I mean, cocaine does not make for good decisions, but generally speaking,
wait, what? It doesn't? I mean, I passed that out before every one of my talks, so I will have to stop that and not.
Okay.
Free samples at every one of my talks.
But letting people feel good, building a vision for the future with them in our sales calls, we can do that the one-on-one, finding out what their vision for the future is. Do we have a fit for that in this product, in this service? That kind of thing is stuff you can do one-on-one. But with the one-to-many, I used to be I would pitch like knives and mandolin slicers and things like that in the hourly Walmart and Sam's Club infotainment stuff. And so that was, I got away with so much stuff that nobody else, like we're on the Walmart intercom and it's like, attention, Walmartians and stuff. I mean, everything that I wanted to do, because I had the twinkle in my eye And because it was relatable and they were having fun, I got away with anything. And I sold generally right about 30 to 40% more product than anybody else on that circuit.
Yep.
And it's so powerful there, having that having that engagement, the back and forth kind of stuff, just being a real person and being willing to commit to it. I'm hearing a lot from you about just committing to the thing, 100%, committing to the idea that you've decided to go with, and not letting fear talk you out of it. I'm hearing a lot of
other
speakers being in fear.
Yes. They totally are. They completely are. And worried about this, or they overcome that by really looking and trying to do manipulation tactics and manipulation techniques.
Yep. It's still crutches. Yep.
And so do they work? Yeah, they do. But then I look at, I know one speaker that aggressively uses hypnosis in his talks. He is a hypnotist also, does a free hypnotist show usually the night before. He's the first speaker in the morning, so he's planted all this shit for people to be stewing on and looking at. But he also has a massive refund rate.
Yep.
Massive refund rate. So
techniques are they can work, but unless they're built on a solid foundation, they're not going to get you anywhere in the long run.
No, not at all.
So these attendees, they're there. They know they're going to be pitched. How does that make life easier for you?
Well, it's all right. So some of them don't know that they are to be pitched. So one of the things that I do, can I show you some of the stuff that I do in my talk?
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. So one of the things I do, I a while ago, and I need to get it actually redone, but I had a video done as my intro because I got tired of having an MC either A, screw up my intro, or B, instead of taking the 2 to 3 minutes that you're right, because I got 70 to 90 minutes. And a lot of times a promoter will count the intro from the MC as part of your time. So if this guy just ate up 10 minutes of my time, he's cut into my ability to bond with the audience. Yeah. And so I now have this video. And so people come up and they, let me share this here with you guys. So they'll have this piece right here that'll come up, and it'll look like that. And then the promoter, all they say is, hey, our next speaker is going to be introduced live via satellite. When those words come up, this comes up by a distinguished professor all the way from Germany. And then,
ladies and gentlemen, listen up and please pay attention. You are in for a treat. Sean started doing internet marketing for his mortgage company in 1997, using AOL bulletin boards to bring in more clients. Then he started helping Fortune 500 companies, and in 2002, working with companies like Amazon.com, eBay, and Google. By 2003, he started also helping everyone and anyone who wanted to start marketing, both online and offline. The mayor of Las Vegas, Nevada, has twice declared it's Sean Roach Day. Well, la-di-da, Las Vegas, Nevada, what do you know? I'm just saying. Anyway, his 2009 best-selling business book, Get Off Your Duff and Make Your Own Damn Cheese, has been endorsed by, among others, Steve Jobs of Apple, President Barack Obama, Meg Whitman of eBay and now HP, Sir Richard Branson of the Virgin Group, and even the ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Majid bin Mohammed. Oh, and it's hard to please. Very nice, Sean.
So I that's there.
Beautiful.
I'm now in the back. I'm able to see, are people laughing? Do they think it's funny? Are they all engaged? Are their hands crossed? I'm kind of watching some of those pieces. Then I go in, I give a warning. I let everybody know that my last name is Roach. I've earned this right. You can have fun with me, or I'm having fun at your expense. That's what this is going to end up being. Then I end up doing this part here. I start talking about my background, and I let people know. There we go. I let people know that I went to public schools and that I had special education from 8th grade, from 3rd to 8th grade, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you'll notice, that's not me.
Right.
That's George Clooney.
Good.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you look an awful lot like George Clooney.
I then stop and let people know, wow, some of you are not paying attention at all because that ain't me. That's George Clooney. That's me. And I said, I've been speaking long enough that I've had people come up to me at the end. So this is an elephant that I know is in the room and I want to get it out of your minds. There would be maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 of you in this room that are also, God, he looks a little like George Clooney, or he looks a little like Dr. House. And I don't want that circulating through your mind where you come up at the end and go, wow, that was a really good talk. I really enjoyed it. Has anyone ever told you you look a little like George Clooney? And I don't want you in your mind thinking, is he the fat George Clooney, the skinny George Clooney? I don't want all those things going on. I want that out of your mind and focused on my presentation. Now, what I did is I just called out something that I know from all my experience they're thinking about. And as you guys know, in sales, a confused mind will never buy. And the more of these conversations that are going on in their minds, if I can get those to go away, the more successful my presentation will be. Then I give quite a bit of content. I talk about some stuff, and then I do this. So to go back to your question on this. So I've talked to them about, you know, being an expert. I've given them some testimonials. I've talked about being a slave. I've asked them some of the questions. So here's my, you know, my question things that I ask, ask some of those questions and go through. And then I go through, give some other examples. And then I let everybody know that I have something for all of them. And I said, do you want it? Yeah, a couple of people go, yeah, some people. And I'm like, really, I could skip this slide. Do you want this? It's worth $18,585.93 if I pieced it all out and offered it to you. Do you want it? And I get them all excited. I said, I have good news and great news. Do you want it? And they're getting all, and I just do as much as I can to get them excited. And I go, now, have I been giving you guys some really good content and information? Yeah. Oh, this is so awesome. You guys are going to love this. I want to let you know at the end of my presentation, I'm going to offer you something. Yeah. It's our total work system. And it's $6,997. Isn't that awesome? And what's funny is you can sense the energy in the room go boom and drop. I mean, if people could go like that and flip me off and give me the thing, that's totally what's going on. It's like, oh my God, I'm already 30 minutes into this talk and I want to leave. I could have been outside doing this. I could have been out doing that. Feel that energy. And I said, look, now do you want the great news? Yeah. No, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, well, here's the thing. It also comes with a 1-year money back guarantee, but that's still not the great news. Do you want the great news? Yeah. Here's the deal.